The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit ReliefFactor.com today.
World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Newly released diary entries by Dr. Anthony Fauci are shedding light on his soaring notoriety during the COVID epidemic. The documents released by Republican Senator Rand Paul include Fauci's reflections about being invited to A-list parties, calls with Barbra Streisand, but also some uncertainty about the origin of COVID, whether it started in a wet market in China or leaked from a Wuhan lab.
There was no uncertainty about where it leaked. It was created and paid for by Anthony Fauci and his organization. They bought and paid for the damn thing. They released it during an election year, and he lied about it 100%. And who could have told you that? I don't know, maybe 6 years ago. This guy right here, I'm pointing to myself here. You know, and I got to tell you how many times I was censored for having an opinion on this. Absolutely, utterly ridiculous. We have a monster, megalomaniacal, whatever the hell, genocidal monster. That's what Anthony Fauci is, a genocidal monster who created a virus and then played on the notoriety, looked at casualties as an opportunity to grow his own fame. And I got to tell you, what I discovered last night about this diary, not surprising, actually much worse than I could have ever imagined. What an awful and incredibly, monstrous individual. Probably the most monstrous name in American history. He is the most monstrous, awful, evil that has existed in American history, other than, you could say slavery, blah, 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 blah. But this man is America's Mengele. That's what Anthony Fauci is. And I have been sitting on this for years, and I'm sick and bloody damn tired of it. The media last night tried to cover up this massive, massive story. This is Abby Phillips on CNN trying to shut down Lydia Moynihan on the biggest story of the year, maybe of the century, about Tony Fauci.
I think we need to have transparency around what's going on. I think one situation that, frankly, where we saw the government was certainly obfuscating, didn't have any transparency, was Anthony Fauci, who we're getting his diaries today, where he was purposely obfuscating about
Anthony
Fauci. That's what they do. They filibuster. This is kind of what you do when you go to a left-wing protest, like a No Kings protest, and you're a conservative. They gather around you and shout you down. That's what they did last night on CNN. But the story is so big that it's not going to go anywhere. And I cannot wait until he is grilled on Capitol Hill tomorrow, and he has to face the music. This man lied about everything. This virus was bought and paid for with our tax dollars and released on the world just so conveniently in an election year. In an election year with a candidate running against Donald Trump who just happened to be bought and paid for by China. That aside, this diary yesterday, I'm reading headlines about it. It's brutal, self-absorbed, fame-seeking, celeb-worshipping, power-mad liar. This is Rob Finnerty last night. I thought Finnerty did a fantastic job on Newsmax covering this diary and this little monster known as Tony Fauci, and the fact that, like Donald Trump's speech where he read just unclassified documents about the fact that the Chinese Communist Party stole the voter information about 220 million Americans, and the media decided to skip the speech. This diary yesterday, this release, was skipped largely by the liberal media.
The Associated Press did not cover this story today. CNN did not cover it. Jake Tapper didn't even mention it. Why would he? The Washington Post, the New York Times, ABC, NBC, MS Now, USA Today, they all covered up that Dr. Fauci kept a diary where this sociopath monster, just my opinion, totally in love with his own fame, kept track of COVID-19 deaths while also chronicling his many media appearances and his text messages with people like George Stephanopoulos and Dana Bash. I'm not kidding.
This is kind of like, you ever read the serial killers who will murder and then write a letter to the editor of the newspaper to brag about it? That's what this kind of reminds me of. This is exactly reminds me of that.
This is from March of 2020. Quote, deaths, 9,800. Quote, a big front page article about me appeared in the Washington Post. Very flattering. My national and international fame is explosive and really unimaginable. It is not hyperbole to say that today I am the most famous and talked about person in the country and one of the most recognizable people in the world.
Does that sound to you like a sociopathic, genocidal narcissist? Does that sound? Who in their right mind would speak this way as a virus supposedly that came from a wet market that was had a 50 times more fatal than the flu virus? Does that sound like somebody in charge of the healthcare system in America? What they would do if, in fact, that were true? What I just said about the virus, which of course was all a lie. Which was all an absolute lie. This guy, I got to tell you, and the left and the media gobbled it up, just like all of you who are still getting booster shots. You know what? You're all a bunch of rubes. If you're still getting booster shots for COVID, you're a freaking rube. I'm not afraid to say it anymore. I'm not afraid to say it anymore. If you're still getting the booster, you're a freaking fool. And you gobble it up just like everybody else did. This is a little montage of the slobbering love fest that the media heaped upon this evil little man.
The single most respected voice in the pandemic, it's Dr. Anthony Fauci.
The man who's become known as America's doctor.
The nation's top infectious disease expert, Anthony Fauci.
You are seen to many as a superhero.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, American hero and New York Yankee fan.
You've done so much for this country in terms of this crisis, so I really appreciate your insight.
Who better to give us answers that we can trust than Dr. Anthony Fauci?
Here's the problem. Anthony Fauci made the virus worse. Anthony Fauci and what he did caused the highest fatalities in the entire world. Anthony Fauci destroyed a generation of young people and their education. I know this because I have two kids who went through it. All of it was absolutely unnecessary. Here's RFK Jr.
We had in our country, because of Dr. Fauci's leadership and other reasons, we had the highest mortality rate from COVID of any country in the world. So we literally did worse than any nation in the world. We had a death rate in our country of 3,000 per million population. There were other countries, for example, Africa, all of the countries in Africa averaged about 350 deaths, so 1/10 of what we had in this country. There were nations like Nigeria and Haiti that had 14 per million population, so 1/200th of what we had.
We had people die alone in nursing homes because they weren't able to see their loved ones in their final moments. We had children and athletes miss their seasons, miss their goal of a championship, the only championship in their life, missed graduation ceremonies, tens of thousands of businesses put out of business, trillions of dollars of fraud as the Democrat Party and NGOs looted the Treasury because of this little weasel who got a pardon, and I hope there are ways that we can get at him, because I would really love to see him die in prison or worse, or absolutely worse. Here is some of the worst parts about it. During the height of COVID, Anthony Fauci, this is according to Rob Finnerty and his diary, Jake Tapper, the guy who didn't know that Joe Biden had cognitive decline until the debate. Sure. And then wrote a book about it, made millions of dollars after Joe Biden left the office and Donald Trump took over. Jake Tapper was glad-handing, almost figuratively sleeping with Anthony Fauci, just infatuated with his fame. Absolutely unbelievable.
Jake Tapper and Dr. Fauci had dinner together at Jake's house. Here is a journal entry from July 26, 2020. Fauci starts with the daily COVID death toll, quote, 5th day in a row with 1,000 deaths a day.
Okay. What would you normally say if, my God, 1,000 people died today because of this virus that came from China, from a wet market? My God in heaven, we must do something about it. Oh, no, not at all.
He goes on from there, quote, had dinner over at Jake and Jen Tapper's house in D.C. Terrific couple, friendship building. And a few weeks later, he started with the death toll again, quote, had dinner at my place with Jake and Jennifer Tapper, relaxed, good time. Jake clearly thinks Trump is totally nuts, end quote.
Oh, no. Jake Tapper is a journalist Wow. Just wow. Here is Rob Finnerty. And again, last night, just a brilliant commentary by Rob Finnerty about this monster of a man who I have said there was something very, very wrong from the very beginning of this. By the way, we have an answer as to why doctors were not able to prescribe things like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, which I was able to get when I got COVID. I got COVID going to the most vaccinated place in America, New York City. I got COVID, and I had to go to Florida for ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. We have an answer as to why doctors could not prescribe ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, which, by the way, greatly reduced the duration and the symptoms of this awful, awful man-made virus we paid for. We have an answer for that. I'm going to share that in just 1 second. First, Rob Finnerty.
They continue to pretend that Dr. Fauci is a hero who bravely guided us through our darkest days, and that he didn't force vaccines and mandates and masks and shutdowns and school closures and death and lies for years. And the media want you to believe that Dr. Fauci is just some public servant and not the guy that he really actually...
What about those 2 years you had to wear a stupid surgical mask everywhere you went, or you got dirty looks, or you got called out, or you got sent home from work? How about that? I want an answer for all of that nonsense, too.
Here he is on tape when he didn't think anybody else was listening.
You were going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated. Yeah. Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us? You get vaccinated. When you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bull and they get vaccinated.
You see, those aren't the words of a real doctor, and those aren't the words of a sane man in control of his faculties. Just my opinion, but those are the words of a psychopath.
100%. 100%. If you know anything about psychopathy, if you've ever seen a documentary on it, this man manifested all of those things and perpetrated it on us and our children, and I want some payback for it. I want the 2 years of my son's college where he couldn't do anything socially. He did class lessons via Zoom call. I want my daughter's high school experience back. 2.5 years of her high school lost, absolutely lost. I want somebody to pay for this. We've got much more coming up on the other side of the break. The number is 800-922-6680. This is The Rob Carson Show.
on Talk Radio 680 WCBM.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to Newsmax.com/listen for details.
He wrote in his diary that he was a rock star and that the government was trying to keep him off TV because everyone was so jealous. 7 years later, his time had come and he was going to ride it.
Here's one that says, I got my first dose of the Fauci ouchie. Told him that I'd bought his bobblehead and he was super cool about it.
I saw your bobblehead today.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was great.
PPL made fun of these Dr. Fauci prayer candles, but we got my dad one for his birthday in November. So he lit it every night, and everyone in my immediate family was fully vaccinated, so maybe there's something there.
Was Dr. Fauci busy trying to slow the spread? Well, apparently he had plenty of time to write about his face being plastered everywhere. Dear Diary, donuts are being named after me. T-shirts have my picture on them and are being sold. San Francisco radio is dedicating a song to me, coloring pictures with crayons for my picture.
Who writes this in a diary? Who writes a diary as an adult man, for God's sake? I don't even know. This is worse than I could have ever imagined, that this monster was in charge with anything with regard to health. And by the way, he was around since AIDS, by the way. He was the guy who came up with AZT, which was the only course of treatment offered by the government for AIDS, and it was frequently as deadly or more deadly than the freaking disease. But that's Anthony Fauci. And I said this from the very beginning. I was working at the car dealership, and I kept thinking, boy, there's something going on here, because they keep saying that that people are dying everywhere, and what I would do is, after I got off work after selling cars for 12 hours, I would drive up to the nearby hospital, the largest hospital in Johnson County, Kansas, which is actually quite substantial, and go by the emergency room to see all of the people there who were being treated for COVID and put on respirators, which generally about 80% of the time resulted in death. And there was never anybody in the parking lot. And I would post it on social media, and it would get shut down. And I would tell my ex-friends in Maryland about it, and they would discount me as some sort of a conspiracy theorist, as they said it. And I said it was ridiculous. And I drove my daughter every day to school. She lost the second semester of her freshman year in high school altogether. They had no protocol whatsoever. She was out of school after her freshman semester until the next fall. There was no education whatsoever. That's like 9 months without any schooling. Then she had to do a hybrid model, then she had to do online. Then she had to do a hybrid model. And then for 2 years, they wore stupid masks, and none of it was necessary. None of it was necessary whatsoever. They literally said we couldn't go to church. That's when I knew we were scrod. That's when I knew that the Marxists had taken over our country, when they said we couldn't worship. And this monster Anthony Fauci knew every damned thing about it. Here's a little more of Rob Finnerty with regard to Anthony Fauci's diary.
We all listened to this self-absorbed egomaniac who was more focused on fame, again my opinion, than he ever was on keeping people alive. But he wrote in his diary, he wrote the word hero 49 times. He had 641 diary entries that started with the word press, because that's all he cared about, was the press attention he got, and it worked. Fast forward, Holy Cross, the college in Massachusetts, named their science complex after Tony Fauci. You should probably change the name. That'd be like naming a daycare center after Michael Jackson.
Yeah. NIAID chief Anthony Fauci publicly lied about the coronavirus fatality rate, initially telling the public it was 2 to 2.5 times percent, I should say, but privately recording in his diary more like 0.2 or 0.3%, meaning no worse than flu. Fauci recorded the number of cases as well as his many media appearances. He also surmised the mortality rate was much lower than he made public, and he shut down everything, and he shut down Christmas, and he shut down family gatherings, and he shut down schools. And one of the reasons, and I remember because we couldn't, there were doctors who were saying, hey, you know what, we ought to investigate ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And they made it verboten. And they went after famous doctors, Marty McCary and others, and Robert Malone, and destroyed them for suggesting that they actually worked on the symptoms of COVID, and they did. And you know why they did that? Here's RFK Jr. explaining why they did that to Megyn Kelly.
Tony Fauci's problem is this. There's a little-known federal law that says you cannot give an emergency use authorization to a vaccine if there is any medication approved for any purpose that is shown effective against the target disease. So if Tony Fauci or anybody had admitted that hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin are effective against COVID, it would have been illegal for them to give the emergency use authorization
and
to the vaccines, and they could never have gotten them approved.
Yeah, and never got the vaccine approved, and trillions or hundreds of billions of dollars would have never been made by the vaccine companies to give you a vaccine that didn't work. I mean, I got to tell you, and I knew all of this all along, and I was censored, and I was told I'm some sort of a conspiracy theorist, and I was unfriended, and I was deplatformed, and all of that. And you know what? If you were a part of that cabal, I'll see you in another lifetime. Yeah, more on this coming up the other side of the break. This is the Rob Carson Show. This isn't the end of a fight. It's the start of one. Lioness, the critically acclaimed original series from Taylor Sheridan, returns August 2nd only on Paramount+. It's the new season. Hidden networks, foreign operatives, and personal betrayals collide while Joe walks the line between duty and family. Don't miss Lioness, starring Zoe Saldana, Michael Kelly, with Morgan Freeman and Nicole Kidman, streaming August 2nd only on Paramount+.
With talent on loan from God, and have my brain tied behind my back, to be fair.
You were the sunshine of our life, Rush. That's why we'll miss you oh so much.
You know, I'm the mayor of Realville here.
You cut down liberals like a knife, Rush.
El Rushball.
Forever you'll be number one.
I am Rush Limbaugh, household name.
America needed a hero
in all four corners of the world.
And then you came to our rescue.
The Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies.
Competition, you had zero. How could so much talent be inside of you?
And don't doubt me.
You were the sunshine of our life, Rush. That's why we listened every day.
That's it. It's not much more complicated than that.
You helped us get through all the strife, Rush. No one will ever take your place, because Rush was the sunshine.
Surpassing all audience expectations every day behind this get hold of me, I be microphone.
Hey guys, it's Carson for Ghost Bed. Do you really want another summer like last summer, barely sleeping because you were too hot all night? People blame summer heat for bad sleep when it really may be their mattress trapping heat. And if you already sleep hot, summer only makes it worse. That's why I switched to Ghost Bed. Helps keep you cool all night, no waking up sweaty, tossing and turning, or throwing the covers off at 2 a.m. Cooling tech is built into every mattress. It's not some expensive upgrade you have to pay extra for. Hot sleepers are some of Ghost Bed's happiest customers. Read the reviews. You get incredible support, less stiffness, deeper sleep, more rested mornings. I got my Ghost Bed about 6 months ago, and it changed my life. Ghost Bed gives you 101 nights to try it at home. You can sleep on it all summer long and feel the difference for yourself. How many more summers are you going to waste on bad sleep? Ghost Bed is currently having their 4th of July sale, offering my audience an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use the promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson, promo code Carson. Hey guys, it's Carson for Relief Factor. When it comes to supplements, two things matter most: that it works and that you can trust it. Jim ran out of Relief Factor twice. Both times his ache, stiffness, and pain came back. Once he restarted again, he says he felt better again. You know something's working when you run out of it. I started taking Relief Factor 6 months ago. I ride 30 miles on a Saturday morning on my mountain bike and lift weights every other day, and I feel great. People like Jim make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor help you tackle your daily aches and pains. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. They will do everything they can to help. We hope you'll be sharing your story with us too. 800-4RELIEF or relieffactor.com.
Mark, standing by whenever you go.
Gotcha.
To the point where millions of people died. Thousands of businesses failed. Children lost years of education because of this one little man. Not alone, but he played a massive role in the pandemic. And the media are still protecting him to this day, no matter what, because they were complicit. Dr. Fauci is not a hero. And if he didn't have that auto pen pardon from Joe Biden, he'd probably be in jail tonight. And he's going to answer for all of this on Wednesday, once again, when he testifies on Capitol Hill. And we will be there, and we will be watching.
It was also very obvious. It was also painfully obvious. I remember that the first few days of COVID, and they were showing people falling over and just like dying on the street in China. And then I kind of watched what was going on at work. I was selling cars at the time. And people would, if anybody even coughed, it would be like, you got to get out of here, you got to go home, and all of this. And then I started kind of watching a little bit more. And then after a month or so, nobody in the dealership got sick. Nobody had been hospitalized at all. And I'm like, huh? And then I would go up to this hospital every night and try to share it on social media and get blocked because there was nobody in the parking lot. There was no one there being treated for it. And I'm a person who knows a lot of people. Obviously, I'm a media figure, and I know a lot of people. I know no one who died of COVID. I don't know anyone who died of COVID. No one in my life died of COVID. No one I'm affiliated with, no one who I've kept in touch with, no one died of COVID. There you go. It was all a giant, massive, filthy, rotten psyop. opportunity for people to make a ton of money, opportunity for the federal government to take over our speech, opportunity to usher in a dementia-addled old man into the presidency in 2020, among other things, Here's Jesse Waters with his take on Anthony Fauci, who, while the worst pandemic supposedly in history. Oh, here's another thing. Do you remember when Joe Biden took office? And they had 400,000 people supposedly had died of COVID, and they had a thing on the Lincoln Memorial. Along the reflecting pool, they had 400,000 of those little candles in the paper bags that they released into the atmosphere because of the 400,000 people who had died while Donald Trump was the president because of COVID. And then they didn't do a damn thing during Joe Biden's presidency when we passed supposedly 1 million people. In fact, deaths from COVID didn't matter when Joe Biden was the president. They didn't matter at all. So utterly, utterly sickening. And the fact that he wrote down in his diary about how wonderful the fame was, the fact that he searched out interviews with people, was on podcasts with people like Julia Roberts, gobbled it up, talked about himself being a hero, talked about all the votive candles where people were lighting this. Reminds me of the Zodiac Killer. Reminds me of Ted Kaczynski. It really, really does. To know that this sort of tragedy, this sort of death, this sort of human suffering is happening, and all you care about is the magazine covers you're on, and the Tonight shows that you're being invited on, and the hero worship that you're getting from the media. My God, what a sick, sick little man this son of a gun is. He's 85 years old. Thank God he's hopefully only got a couple more years on the planet, and I wish that was shortened by a very massive life sentence in prison or worse. Jesse Waters.
Dr. Anthony Fauci is dishonest, almost always wrong, and is intoxicated with fame. As thousands of Americans were dying every day, here's what America's top doctor wrote, secretly to himself. Dear Diary, the press is going wild with me. It is not a hyperbole to say that today I am the most famous and talked about person in the country and one of the most recognizable persons in the world. The situation with my national and international fame is explosive and really unimaginable.
Does this sound like a mentally well person? While all this suffering and death is happening, for you to write in your own diary about this is a mentally ill person.
The press is still hot and heavy about me. POTUS seems to be enamored of me, even though I am taking the spotlight away from him. During the lockdowns, Fauci apparently spent hours Googling himself, reading every article, even going into the comments section. Anthony was on Tyra Banks' Instagram page, America's top model. He writes, Dear Diary, one person said that Tyra was sexy, but that I was even more sexy than she was.
This is an adult man.
And Fauci agreed. He clicked on a petition to name him sexiest man alive, and he memorialized that over 10,000 people signed it.
He clicked on a link for being the sexiest man alive while people were dying and suffering from COVID, and businesses were being shut down, and kids weren't able to go to schools, and people died alone in nursing homes because they wouldn't allow people to visit them in their final moments. To everyone who idolized this man, to everyone who ever told me that I was foolish to not get the vaccine, I chose not to get the vaccine. Honestly, you could stick it.
Here is Dr. Fauci just weeks before the first cases of COVID-19 arrived here in the U.S. This was November of 2019.
So you have malaria, tuberculosis, HIV. These are things that are there.
Yeah, COVID was in the hopper in the Wuhan lab. COVID was in the hopper. It had already been made. Now, one thing you don't know is that in Wuhan, China, they allowed international passengers to depart, but none to come in. They allowed people to depart Wuhan. Okay? So my personal opinion is this was not an accident, that it was released or escaped in an election year.
And then the other thing that I aspirationally hope to be able to encounter is the ability to rapidly respond to something brand new. whether it's
so weird. He was just talking about this a couple weeks before COVID, and it was a brand new virus that was released.
Brand new pandemic, or as you mentioned, a brand new attack upon us deliberately by bioterror.
Well, that is very interesting. Isn't that crazy that he was just talking about that 2 weeks before it was released? I mean, that it escaped?
Seriously? He said, quote, I just aspirationally hope to encounter a pandemic or a terrorist attack. Who says that?
I remember driving by the skateboard park and the basketball courts near my home, and they put sand in them so the kids couldn't go skateboarding. And literally the police were like there if you arrived with a basketball to play basketball outside with your friends. The police would tell you to go home. They went after people who were solo surfing off the California coast. That's the madness that we had to go through. That's the unnecessary insanity that we had to go through. Here's Jesse Waters talking about the fact that Anthony Fauci lied about the morbidity of this virus in the pursuit of power to shut down things that otherwise should not have ever been shut down.
Told the country that the COVID fatality rate was extremely dangerous.
The mortality for this is about 2.5%. It's probably lower than that. It's probably closer to 1. But even if it's 1, it's 10 times more lethal than the seasonal flu.
But that's not what he wrote in his diary. He said the fatality rate was actually closer to 0. Didn't matter. In his diary, he was bragging about
Yeah, this is why there's a good chance you don't know anybody who died of COVID either. Because I don't.
Shutting down the country. I spoke with Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York City, and convinced him, based on what I was saying publicly and my conversation tonight, to close the NYC schools. He had already decided based on what I was saying on TV, and I went on to tell him he should close the bars and restaurants in New York City. Fauci said he spoke to Newsom, who did the same thing with California.
All absolutely unnecessary. Monstrous. Absolutely monstrous. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
This is a man who is responsible for the suicides, the deaths, the mass depression, the educational ruin of an entire generation of people. He is singularly responsible for it, and we now know he knew what he was doing when he was doing it. What Fauci did succeeded. He succeeded. The media's whole goal here, Fauci's whole goal here, was to get Donald Trump out of the White House.
Yes.
And they succeeded. The only thing that I take some solace about is the fact that they're not going to be able to hide this stuff any longer. And that man who loved being loved so badly, that loser who is responsible for all those deaths, who loved being a celebrity and loved being loved, is the most loathed and despised man on the planet, and he will die that way.
This is why the news media is absolutely dead. This is why trust in our public institutions, I mean, all of them, we have no more trust in them. The NIH, the NIAID, the CDC, no faith in them whatsoever, because they were so filthy, bloody, rotten, corrupt, so bloated with money. Our tax dollars, royalties from the vaccine manufacturers. We discovered so much about all of this. And by the way, Fauci actually got the vaccine. I don't know if you know about this. Fauci got the vaccine and ended up getting the same thing that millions got. They had a myocardial infarction, one of the many symptoms related to your heart that were caused by the vaccine. Here's RFK.
Yeah, and millions of people injured. You know, he lied about masks, he lied about social distancing, he lied about the transmission, he lied about...
This is why I came up with the expression, don't catch the stupid. Do you get it now?
Natural immunity. He lied about the capacity, as you just said, of the vaccine to prevent infection. He got vaccinated, a very, very public press conference in January of 2020. And then 5 months later, he had, and this is the first time that we knew this from the diary, he had a pulmonary infarction, which is one of the adverse events that NIH, CDC, and FDA said are expected from the vaccine.
My son has a friend, he's his same age, who moved to Colorado right out of college, wanted to spend the rest of his life hiking in the mountains and enjoying life, and he got the vaccine and a booster, and he has myocarditis so badly he will never hike again in his life. He's 27 years old. Mark in Baltimore. Mark, welcome to the Rob Carson Show. Your thoughts real quick. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, Shalom. Thank you very much. I never got the voices vaccine, nor did I get those cards where they certified that you got the voices vaccine, that you needed to have an admission at certain events where it was for those that were already got the vaccine and all that going on. What you're dealing with is basically dealing with the American version of Dr. Mengele. We Jews only know so much about our history from way back when. It just happened about 50 years ago during World War II.
Yeah.
But this was done on a worldwide scale, not just in Germany or in Austria and all that. This was really to try to terrorize the whole planet. That's why he should be held responsible for war crimes beyond just the United States.
Yeah.
And I don't trust a tribunal in the Netherlands to try him for international court. So is there any court system outside the U.S. that's willing to try him as well?
I have no idea. I have no idea, honestly. I asked for international tribunals when it was happening in real time. I wanted some sort of a tribunal for this man in real time when it was happening. But I honestly could not tell you. I hope that he dies a very lonely and very demonized individual for what he did, and I think he's well on the way to doing that. I do appreciate your phone call, Mark. Thank you. Let's move on to Scott Atlas. This is Scott Atlas talking about Anthony Fauci and what he did to our kids. This is incredibly personal for me because my kids suffered. I had to watch my daughter sit out almost a year at school, then go to hybrid learning, which was worthless. I knew that nothing was happening for her. I knew that she was getting further and further behind. I tried everything I could. My son missed out 2 years of his college experience, wrecked him. So many kids missed their senior years. So many kids missed their graduations. So many years missed the possibility of being outstanding in sports. So many kids missed their performances, whether it be band or whether it be choir or whether it be theater. So many kids missed everything. It is so bloody sickening. I'm just so god dang sick of this crap. Here is Scott Atlas.
He admitted that he was in charge and recommended and persuasive about shutting schools, doing the lockdowns in New York, California has been said here. He admitted that, in fact, he knew that I was not for letting it rip.
He's a sadist. He got off on it. He got off on the power. He got off on the fact that he could shut down Christmas. He could shut down schools. He could shut down businesses. He fed off of it.
He was letting the media run with that, and because he wanted to delegitimize anyone who disagreed with him and make it seem like I and others were dangerous. He admitted that by name explicitly that schools were not sources of spreading. He said I was right about that, but he let the schools maintain closure this is from fall of 2020.
They made kids sit in the lunchroom 6 feet apart, unable to talk to one another.
Children were being destroyed. He didn't bother to correct that. We have to remember what Bobby Kennedy and you have already said, though. He presided over the most destructive, most unethical fiasco in modern health history. More than 1 million extra Americans died from the policy over the 3 years of 2020 to 23 compared to if we would have done what Sweden did. His policies destroyed kids, healthy kids, poor kids, and, not only all of the things, peaks in spousal abuse, child abuse, drug abuse. These are long-lasting problems, including losing trust in all of science.
He will be remembered forever as the worst monster to ever live in American history. The media won't admit it, but it's true. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
Are you nearly...
Hey, guys. Insanity. I remember having to wear these stupid masks to work every day, realizing they were idiotic, breathing my own air over and over and over again, having idiot customers come in and report me to my boss because I wasn't wearing my mask properly, having to wear a mask whenever I went into any grocery store or any business whatsoever, having to wear the health clubs being completely closed down. You couldn't even work out. You couldn't even stay healthy during the pandemic. And there's still remnants. I still see people at the gym. I still see people out wearing masks like dutiful little sheep that they are, still obeying the same protocols and the nonsense. Those who believe, are made to believe absurdities, will commit atrocities. That's what we learned out of this, that some people will follow anything that the government says to the end, no matter what. This includes ostracizing, literally fighting with people who disagree with you, and carrying forward protocols and behaviors mandated by the government without question. It's how monstrous it was. Very, very reminiscent of Hitler's Germany. Very reminiscent of Mao's China. And that's what it was meant to be, by the way. That's what it was meant to be, a part of all of this. Black Lives Matter, summer 2020, the release of the virus, all of it. It was an attempt to take over the country, overthrow the country. It didn't work. Now we've got to hold people responsible. So sickening.
I'm at 240.
I got a new piece of comedy from Jim Gossett. I think we need it. But I got to hear this first. Come on. All right. Let's hear what Jim Gossett did with Anthony Fauci, the worst monster in American history, on The Rob Carson Show.
Rand Paul read my diary and found out how it contradicted what I spoke in public about COVID-19.
I can't wait till tomorrow.
He proved my phony numbers were a joke.
He lied about the mortality.
Fatality rates I inflated.
He lied about ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine.
My testimony made them seem much worse.
So you would take a worthless vaccine.
Rand Paul has caught me red-handed.
He paid to create the virus in a Wuhan lab.
That diary could be my final curse.
It cost millions of lives.
I can't hide those Wuhan lies. My alibis are a thin disguise. Rand Paul's cut me down to size. There ain't no way to hide my Fauci lies.
I'm never going to forget it. I'm never going to forget the chapters that we went through, the nonsense that we have had to endure the last decade in the summer of 2020 with COVID. The several years after that, we had to deal with the absolute nonsense, the cruelty, the control, the censorship, all of it. I will never, ever forget it. And I wanted tribunals then. I want tribunals now, to be quite honest. Coming up, Zohran Mamdani wants to attend the 9/11 memorial on the 25th anniversary. Families are saying no, he's going to do it anyway. Plus, he may not have been elected fairly. That's all coming up, hour number 2, with Tony Shaffer as well. Don't go anywhere.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus. The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit ReliefFactor.com today.
Live from Newsmax Studios in Washington, D.C., the most interesting, informative, and funny show in America, on air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is hour number 2 of the Rob Carson Show. We spent the entire first hour, and I thought it was very extensive coverage of the Fauci diary, where he said one thing to the public and then the other to his diary, and he lied about everything. And everything that we thought was, those of us who were called conspiracy theorists, everything that we thought and knew in our hearts, turns out it was true. The virus was not nearly as deadly as he said it was. He just played it up so he could be a megalomaniacal monster, a narcissistic monster who fed on the publicity and the love that he got from the media and from celebrities. He loved it. He devoured it while so many people were suffering. If you want to listen to the podcast of the show, I would encourage you to do so after the show. Just go to your usual podcast platforms, look up Rob Carson Show, and you know the drill. Subscribe and whatnot. There's a reason why we have become the 10th biggest political commentary podcast in America, number 41 for news, number 250 overall, because there's a lot of common sense here, life experience, and occasionally humor, and when we can do it. But they just Anthony Fauci's a monster, and those who fell for it, you are all damned fools. You are the people standing outside of the ark as the rain started falling down, pounding on the door, saying, "Let us in." Those of you who fell for all of the nonsense of COVID, all the COVID protocols, all the masking, all the booster shots, you were standing outside of the ark, pounding on the door to get in, and we're not going to let you in. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Shame on you for believing such nonsense. Sorry, this is the way it is. There's a point where you kind of got to go, hey, I tried to tell you, but nobody would believe me. So 9/11, the 25th anniversary is coming up, and Zohran Mamdani, who literally has appeared with this. Trying to remember the name of the podcaster who dressed like Mao, who says that we deserve 9/11. Didn't push back on that at all. We know what Zohran Mamdani is. Zohran Mamdani is an Islamist first. I told you this when he was elected mayor of the city of New York, that he was an Islamist first. He was playing the socialists, the young idiots of the socialist movement, the LGBTQIA plus morons, because there's no reason why the radical imams of the city of New York and around the country would support such a man who was so down with the LGBTQIA plus community, with transgenderizing children, with homosexuality in general, which when you are a radical imam, you are vocal about not allowing it. And there are certain Middle Eastern countries where radical Islam will throw you off of buildings to your death for committing such sins against Allah. And they had no problem with Zohran Mamdani glad handing, loving up to the LGBTQIA plus community and the radical leftist morons, the adult children of Generation Z, brainwashed in America's public schools and colleges. And so that's why they loved him, and he became the mayor. He is purely anti-Semitic. He does not believe that Israel is a country. He believes that Palestine, the Palestinians somehow are victims in all of this, even though they're the ones who elected Hamas to lead them. They are the ones who allowed missile batteries in schoolyards and hospitals and under hospitals and all of this. And they had the chance at a two-state solution. They blew it. They absolutely blew it. And Zohran Mamdani is down with them. And it's unbelievable that Zohran Mamdani would suggest going to the 9/11 commemoration when so many families do not want him there. So many Gold Star families of 9/11 do not want him there because he is glad-handing the leaders of the Palestinians, including Hamas, who they are tied to. And I don't know if you remember this. Those of you who are Gen Zers, you won't remember this. But on 9/11 in Gaza, they danced in the streets as the people jumped to their deaths from buildings and burned alive, and they passed out candy to children. They passed out candy to children, and those are the people that Zohran Mamdani sides with. Here's Zohran Mamdani defiantly defying the wishes of Gold Star 9/11 families and saying he's going to attend the 9/11 ceremony, even though it is nothing more than a flag planting by radical Islam to show that we won.
People who are survivors of 9/11 are calling on you not to go to 9/11 memorial services. I wonder how you feel about the fact that they're trying to keep you away.
I will proudly honor the families, the survivors, the first responders forever impacted by that horrific terror attack by standing alongside them at this year's 9/11 commemoration, reaffirming that we will never forget the solemn day felt by...
This is nothing more than an indignity. I put a video up last night on social media about the Islamists serving up an indignity. The Islamic call to prayer in American cities is serving up an indignity, particularly around Ground Zero. The anti-Israel protests that are terrifying Jewish people in the city of New York and started right after October the 7th. They are an indignity. They are intentional. They are to signal some sort of domination or victory, and they haven't won, and they're not going to win either. A lot of people are really quite angry in Washington or in the city of New York about Zohran Mamdani. Newsmax was out at a major protest this weekend against Mamdani, and many people are calling for the removal of this man from office.
Well, here at NGU Hatred, we just have this radical belief that American leaders should love the United States of America. And you can tell that the New York people are just sick of the rhetoric that Zohran Mamdani is spewing. He is spewing hate. He is spewing division. And that's not what we...
He also hates America. He is endorsing people like this Darazella Chevalier, who has said that America is an effing disgrace, boasted about desecrating the American flag by using it as a napkin to wipe her filthy hands. We know who he is.
Stand for. It's not what anybody stands for who came out here today. We're here today because an Asian New Yorker was attacked, a Jewish New Yorker was attacked, and when radical Islam comes for Western civilization, it does not differentiate if you are Christian or Buddhist or Muslim or Jewish. They are here to conquest, to conquer. Radical Islam is a threat, and Zohran Mamdani is spreading that ideology through his rhetoric. You cannot...
And I'll tell you what, I think New Yorkers have had enough. You see Scott Lebedo, the artist, yesterday? He is livid about the possibility of Zohran Mamdani attending a 9/11 memorial, and he knows why. It is such an affront to those who passed. Also, this has been gathering some steam. We even in Newsmax 2, we had this Marley Hornick on our show to talk about the fact that a lot of the votes for Zohran Mamdani were fraudulent. In fact, the number of fraudulent votes surpassed his margin of victory. Yeah. Prominent election integrity activist has covered bombshell evidence suggesting that Zohran Mamdani's 2025 election may not have been legitimate. Marley Hornick, the founder of Real America Vote and New York Citizens Audit, has suggested the 2025 election included large numbers of unqualified or non-existent voters. And this also extends to some of the other DSA candidates that have been elected as well. Here is Marley Hornick talking on WABC radio a couple days ago.
Is that the New York City and the New York State boards of elections have no idea if Mamdani won the mayoral. I actually don't know whether Mamdani won the mayoral race, and I'm not here to say that he didn't. The problem we uncovered is that the New York City and the New York State boards of elections have no idea if Mamdani won the mayoral election either. Let's look at their official records. Did they or did they not qualify the voters?
Yeah.
7% of the voters in that election do not exist.
Wow.
They don't exist.
They don't exist.
They could be dead.
No.
They're not even illegals. They
No.
just don't exist.
No, they don't exist.
Wow.
We also found that 6% of the voters have Social Security numbers that the SSA, the official government website, calls impossible and invalid. Right. So here's the issue. His margin of victory is 207,000 votes. We found over 230,000 votes, and we have another 1.2 million voters to study.
Now, it's interesting because without the non-existent votes and the people whose Social Security numbers are impossible, he wouldn't have won. It normally means you don't win. Here's Naomi Wolf talking about the same thing. Naomi Wolf, a great journalist.
There are now 3 different credible sources with 3 different data sets, all converging and reaching the conclusion that there is no way to say that Mamdani won, that there has to be an investigation. Wow. There has to be a new election. This election cannot be considered valid. So Marley Hornick of Real America Vote and New York Citizens Audit, she's an election integrity expert. She has found in her research and her organization's research of the voting rolls, 1 million of 2.2 million voters, she's found, having reviewed 1 million votes, that 7% were non-existent.
Yeah, there we go. We've already covered that. But here is Marley Hornick talking about how dangerous that Zohran Mamdani is.
The mayor is a liar. He's lying. He's part of an international effort that is crossing all Western nations simultaneously to destroy our legacy of human rights and civil rights, to destroy our philosophical legacy. He is lying through his teeth. He is exactly the same age as James Madison was when Madison wrote the Federalist Papers, and he knows exactly what he is doing. This is why the founders were so adamant about the protection of the right of the United States citizens to have sovereignty over the law through elections that are valid, wherein only real verified, qualified voters are allowed to participate. Because once someone is in office, as we see with this faker, they have the power of life and death over citizens' lives, over our lives, our families, our children, and the fruits of our labor. And this man is very, very dangerous, and he was not legitimately elected.
There you go. You know, that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I think I'm kind of down with it. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
FM in Harford County.
Got to rejoin.
Who would not want voter ID? Only somebody that wants to cheat.
That's right. And the only way candidates who believe that we should not have the Defense Department, we should get rid of the Senate, we should not have an election of the president, rather have an appointment by the House of Representatives, and I could go on and on, open the border. The only way people could win with that is by cheating. Thank you very much. And that is the Democrat Socialists of America. We'll get into that very shortly. The Bat Guano Crazy co-chair of the DSA over the weekend said all of those things. And yesterday, the media presented to prominent Democrats with that. And many of them said, we can allow that in the tent. This means that your Democrat Party, if you are a Democrat, and if your Democrat Party is down with that, you need to find another party. Or if you stay with it, you're freaking insane. And by your connection to those ideals, you are a seditious conspiracist against the United States of America as founded. And you're going to get your rear end kicked up between your shoulders, whether it be in November or beyond. Zohran Mamdani is going to do socialized grocery stores. Now, in the city of Chicago, 7 Save-A-Lot grocery stores have closed permanently. Everybody's blaming President Trump and the reduction in the SNAP income. That's not the case. If your business relies on people spending government benefits at your store, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. These stores were in a lot of trouble from the very beginning. Save-A-Lot in 2020 decided to get out of the retail business, focus on the wholesale business. In September the following year, it sold 23 of the stores throughout Milwaukee, Ohio, Chicago, to a black-owned business called Yellow Banana. Prior to the sale, the 7 stores in Chicago already had a terrible reputation for being dirty, dealing with rat infestations and selling expired foods. In stepped Yellow Banana's CEO, Joseph Canfield, the so-called savior of these Save-A-Lots, who immediately got into trouble after purchasing the stores. Yellow Banana faced more than 20 lawsuits, liens, and tax foreclosures totaling $2.8 million, the bulk of which was filed against Yellow Banana by contractors and vendors like PepsiCo and Frito-Lay, who said they had not been paid for delivered goods. Yeah, it sounds like a good start, doesn't it? Yeah, it sounds like a really good start. In 2022-2023, the city of Chicago handed Canfield's Yellow Banana a $26 million redevelopment agreement that included a $13 million taxpayer finance loan to fix up 6 of these 7 stores, and apparently they blew it. I don't even know where the money went. The last of the renovated stores reopened in April of 2025, although 2 stores didn't meet key requirements of the deal and led to more than $50,000 in city penalties. So this damn store's lasted less than a year, and Zohran Mamdani wants to do the same damn thing in New York City. But his stores, are you ready? His grocery stores aren't going to open for 3 years.
Today, I am proud to announce a collection of essential staples that will be predictably 30% cheaper at all 5 of our city-run grocery stores.
Yay. And all you got to do is wait 3 years. And then they'll be out of business within 1 year after that.
This core set of goods will include all fresh produce, meat, and seafood, along with 20 other essential items like cheese, milk, and bread.
Yeah, and they will all be substandard, and they will all suck. Here's the store that I accidentally went into in Kansas City about a couple years ago. I went into the store, and I was like, "This is dystopian." It's like a zombie apocalypse grocery store. It was all the shelves were empty. You could smell rotting meat and produce, and there were flies in the air.
It's clear this Sunfresh at 31st and Prospect is struggling. This is the first section people see when they come in. There's barely any produce.
Yeah.
A lot of the coolers and shelves around the store look the same way, empty. So
no vendor is going to sell produce to Zohran Mamdani's state-run grocery stores and lose their asses on it. If they do, they will sell them produce. They will sell them things that are close to expiration or things they can't get rid of.
Have been asking us, if the store isn't closing, then where's all the food? A rotten smell comes through the door, and anywhere you turn, you'll see products that need to be restocked. No hot food or deli.
No.
There was a time this store was on life support. I can tell you today, right now, it's damn near dead.
Yeah.
This is a new low, even to people like Pat Clark, who've watched the store go through its ups and downs.
30 days ago, Hell, we look like a grocery store again.
The city owns the Linwood Shopping Center. A nonprofit operates the grocery store. Public and private investments are in the millions of dollars.
Yeah, $22 million is what they spent on that stupid store, and it went out of business within a year. Jim Gossett did this about the Save-A-Lots in Chicago on the Rob Carson Show.
My kind of town, Chicago is.
Crap hole.
To get gunned down, Chicago
Let's
is.
go get shot.
Grocery stores there are shutting down, leaving town. Mayor's a clown, and soon there'll be nowhere left to shop.
Nah.
Send in the guard and make it stop. The rise in crime rate, Chicago is. The old Democrat Council, Chicago is.
Yeah, it is.
They just got called out by Trump. It's my, all of it is mine.
Come on, James, sing it.
My kind of love.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Whoa.
Chicago, Chicago, Chicago.
Wow.
My kind of dumb Chicago.
Wow, that is Jim Gossett, the Jim Gossett, the genius. That is Jim Gossett. Go to patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy, patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy. He did two pieces of satire today. He does 2 every single day because he's a freaking genius, and you're only going to hear him on this radio program, or if you get a Patreon and you donate to him, you give him like $10, $20 a month, whatever you want to do. Patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy. Help a brother out. Coming up, the Democrats, a lot of high-profile Democrats presented with this insane DSA platform of no military, no Senate, no election of the president, no border. I can go on and on and on. Some of them say there's room in the Democrat Party for that. Scott Bassett is saying that is your Democrat Party. Death spiral into hell. Who's been saying the Democrat Party is doing that for years? Oh, yeah, this guy right here. Yeah, I'm pointing at myself. Tony Shaver joins us next. Don't go anywhere.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
This isn't the end of a fight. It's the start of one. Lioness, the critically acclaimed original series from Taylor Sheridan, returns August 2nd only on Paramount Plus. It's the new season. Hidden networks, foreign operatives, and personal betrayals collide while Joe walks the line between duty and family. Don't miss Lioness, starring Zoe Saldana, Michael Kelly, with Morgan Freeman and Nicole Kidman, streaming August 2nd only on Paramount Plus.
Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Hey guys, it's Carson for Relief Factor. When it comes to supplements, 2 things matter most: that it works and that you can trust it. I trust Relief Factor. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed. And of course, we'd like you to hear a few of their stories. Mark, for instance, was in tears from his daily hand joint discomfort. But after a week on Relief Factor, he felt 50% better. Now he barely even notices any pain. I can attest to this. It used to hurt getting up and out of chairs or even off the bench press at the gym. Not so much anymore. People like Mark make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us a Relief Factor story and how it gave you your life back. 3 weeks now for just $17.76. Simply go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. They'll do everything they can to help. We hope you'll be sharing your story too. ReliefFactor.com or 800-4RELIEF. Hey guys, it's Carson for Ghost Bed. Do you really want another summer like last summer, barely sleeping because you were too hot all night? People blame summer heat for bad sleep when it really may be their mattress trapping heat. And if you already sleep hot, summer only makes it worse. That's why I switched to Ghost Bed. Helps keep you cool all night, no waking up sweaty, tossing and turning, or throwing the covers off at 2 a.m. Cooling tech is built into every mattress. It's not some expensive upgrade you have to pay extra for. Hot sleepers are some of Ghost Bed's happiest customers. Read the reviews. You get incredible support, less stiffness, deeper sleep, more rested mornings. I got my Ghost Bed about 6 months ago, and it changed my life. Ghost Bed gives you 101 nights to try it at home. You can sleep on it all summer long and feel the difference for yourself. How many more summers are you going to waste on bad sleep? Ghost Bed is currently having their 4th of July sale, offering my audience an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use the promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson, promo code Carson. Before we get to our special guest, the president of Project Sentinel, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, here is Cory Booker saying that eviscerating Iran's military has made them stronger.
Iran has more leverage, more power on the world stage. Not only did he not devastate Iran, Iran is in a stronger position today in terms of that kind of leverage than they were before. And what is Donald Trump doing? He's doubling down on a failed war by increasing attacks this week and still has no way out of this morass.
Now let's see what General Jack Keane has to say about that.
Well, that's a gross exaggeration of what the facts are. I mean, clearly, Iran's military capacity has been reduced dramatically. And we're on a pathway, I think, to returning to major combat operations. And certainly, if we're able to get back to that, it'll be quite devastating on Iran. Not only will they lose what remaining military capability have, but they're going to lose every economic viability that they have, to include their oil business and other businesses that provide an income for them. Our plan is quite massive. It exceeds everything that we did in Epic Fury and then some.
All right, so Tony Shaffer, first of all, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
It's good to be here, Rob. I'm doing well. I hope you're well as well.
Yeah, the absurd charge that Cory Booker made that Iran is in a better position, stronger than it was before. I mean, it is so absolutely ludicrous. It's like saying that Japan's in a better position after we drop bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, for God's sake.
Yeah, I think Cory Booker's, I think his trans drugs are off. No, sorry, I didn't mean that. I don't think he transitioned. I think he's just not smart. Yeah. So yeah, and and as you know, I've had my disagreements with General Keane, but General Keane is completely correct the way he's assessed this. So we have options. We have a lot of options. And it's one of the things about the left right now. They're saying, oh, we stopped because we're low on munitions. Like, no, we've hit all the targets we wanted to hit. We're looking for new things to hit.
Yes.
So we have to be careful from this point on, because we don't want to do permanent and very difficult to recover destruction to their economy. We don't.
Yeah.
For any number of reasons. And, yeah, this whole idea of the Strait of Hormuz being a point of leverage, yeah, that's all they got. And even that's fragile, because it's really the threat of violence, not the actual capability of violence, is what they're using. Because can they hit a ship? Yeah, they can hit a ship now and then, but in the big scheme of things, that doesn't really stop shipping. It makes it more difficult. So they are literally a nuisance to the world at this point. They have been demilitarized. They basically have a handful of things they can control. And that's where we're at. And I think that's why President Trump took the pause that he did. It's not like we can't go on. The decision is we're going to give our forces a few days to recover. We're going to get potential ground options regarding taking key terrain and holding it.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that a little bit because the president put up some memes about Kharg Island, taking Kharg Island, which is 90% of their oil exports. It crippled the economy completely. And many have said that we cannot do that without putting ground forces on the ground. I would imagine... Well, I'm not going to try and guess, but generally when we've put in ground forces in the last 20 years or so, the casualty rate among our ground forces is far much lesser than those of the enemy. What are your thoughts of the possibility of that happening? What do you suppose the result would be, and how long would it take to actually take over the island completely?
So let's walk through. So first, once the president made the decision, it would take about 24 hours to have all forces lined up and ready to launch. When the word is given, I suspect it would take probably about 12 hours to take control of the key locations, with the full island being secured within 48 hours. And then the issue becomes holding it. The holding it, I don't think is going to be as difficult as the Iranians seem to think it is, because it's an island. They got to get to the island to take it back, and they don't have a navy anymore. So it would be problematic at minimum for them to actually try to figure out how they would get it back. And would they have some level of ordnance left regarding missiles and drones? Yeah, but we could also deploy counter-missile, counter-drone things as well. So it would be more costly to them by an order of magnitude than to us. I'm not saying we wouldn't have casualties. I'm saying we would be able to do things within a reasonable pace, taking control and holding it probably as long as we want.
Not exactly Iwo Jima is what you're saying.
No, it would not be.
Yeah. Donald Trump yesterday, I heard him speaking at length about avoiding, the civilian areas, talking about the length of time it takes, the longest time to rebuild a bridge. Second after that is power plants, and how he has deliberately stayed away from bombing them for the sake of the Iranian people. Have you ever known of a president to be that deliberate when it came to civilian casualties, the damaging of the infrastructure at a time of war? Because I can't recall anyone being like George Bush wasn't like that.
No.
So, go ahead.
And even in our entry into Afghanistan back in 2001 and 2002, we weren't as careful as we are being right now. I mean, between you and me, I'll just say it. It's nothing better than seeing a B-52 doing carpet bombing. Don't think it wouldn't be helpful right now to do that. It's like, I'd love to see the B-52s just kind of laying a 250 to a 500-pound bomb carpet all across, but we're not doing that. Yeah. The idea here is to be precise, to be effective, and to hold back on any unneeded, unnecessary casualties. I'll say this, though. I think one of the reasons that Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington right now is a contemplation of the Israelis jumping back into the war, because if you recall, Rob, the initial entry into the war saw that the Israelis decapitated the Iranian leadership. It wasn't us; it was them.
Yeah,
and it was rightfully so, because they were the ones who were the grieving the loss of the Israelis murdered by Hamas, that was funded by Iran. So they had every right to do that. Oh, by the way, I think we could relook that, because part of the issue is there are leaders right now in Iran who are preventing those who want to negotiate an end from being able to negotiate, because the IRGC always comes back in, as President Trump said, they make an agreement and they break it in 10 minutes. So, okay, maybe it's time we start eliminating those who want to stop the progress of getting to a negotiated settlement.
Well, still yesterday I hear the president talking about they really want to talk, they really want to reach an agreement. I say screw it. It's going to be the same crap. It's going to be the same nonsense, bull crap. And I was actually, I support our president very much, but honestly, I'm done with this crap, Tony. I'm done with this BS, thinking that we can somehow come some sort of agreement with these a-holes, because they're not going to do it. They're not going to abide by it. We've just got to kill them. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, And look, this is not the first time we've dealt with a extremist, fundamentally crazy regime. I mean, look, World War II, the Nazis were a death cult. The Japanese were a death cult. The Japanese Empire. So a lot of folks said the Japanese would never surrender, and they did. Just saying. So I see all these skeptics saying, oh, the Iranians will never surrender. Yeah, they won't surrender until they do.
All right, let's take a break and come back. More with Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer right after this on The Rob Carson Show.
President Trump spoke with Fox and Friends this morning, indicating that Iran must formalize a deal not to obtain nuclear weapons. The president also discussed the Strait of Hormuz, saying this.
The only ones that get through are the ones that we want to get through. They're the only ships that get through, Brian. We have a blockade that's so powerful that nobody can get through. They tried. 3 or 4 of them tried over the last week. But, you know, we opened the blockade because we had the confines of a deal. So we did it. And then we put it back because they broke the deal. They break the deal. We cannot have them break deals anymore.
Right. Yeah, and I don't believe we can trust them. Duh. It's obvious. Tony, I was thinking, you know, we obviously have intelligence assets in Iran, and they're able to do some things. But really, if we're going to win any sort of battle outside of the air war and the water war, anything on land, we're going to need the Israeli intelligence involved in Israeli federal special forces. Don't you suppose they'll have to do the heavy lifting on this?
Well, yes and no. there's several concepts on the table right now.
Okay.
A couple have been kind of leaked to the public. One of them is using the Baluch, the rebels in Pakistan, the Baluch,
Yes.
from the Baluch region, coming in from the east, and the Kurds from the west coming in, destabilizing at least on the edges, then using other special operations forces to help encourage an uprising of the Iranians. So there's a lot of options on the table.
Yeah.
The Israelis will be involved in any one of them, and I think they'll play a very key role. They do have effective intelligence, but I don't think we have to rely on them as a sole kind of partner. I think we have other options.
Yeah.
Plus, one of the things, this is laughable because we talked about it on your show, but somehow the Wall Street Journal, quote-unquote, had an exclusive, and I'm rolling my eyes, that they reported on Bahrain and Kuwait attacking unilaterally using UAE intelligence, attacking Iran on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we talked about that when it happened. It's like, I don't know where these people are. Anyway, my point being is we have Arab allies who are literally itching to jump into this as well because they've been attacked and they have the right to respond. So I do believe that this is helping. And by the way, I think Iran really overplayed its hand. I really think, Rob, that they thought, we'll gain the control of the strait and we'll be able to rule the roost, to include against our Arab allies going forward. It's like, they're building pipelines to go around. You don't have to worry about your nonsense.
Yes.
And, by the way, you've just upset them to the point of where they're going to come into the battle with us because you've been attacking them. So I think the Iranians have really overplayed their hand. I'm tired of the left's skepticism and, we're losing. We're not losing. You need to, you can't change the momentum of 47 years of evil in just 4 months. It takes a little bit longer. You know?
And I got to tell you, the first day we killed the Ayatollah, which was, when was the last time you saw that the first day of an engagement like this, you take out the leader of the country, and Chris Murphy on day one called it a disaster. The Democrat Party and the left in this country have sided with Iran, even to the fact that they would choose to believe Iran's propaganda over the U.S. military updates and all of this. And I've never seen anything like this. I don't know how they go lower than this, Tony. I don't know how do we go lower than this? And
they go lower. They go lower because by becoming the Soviet Union and channeling Joseph Stalin. That's how they become lower because that's where they're going.
Let me ask you about the Democrat Socialists of America. Because it is insane. You had the co-chair of the DSA come on the news on Saturday say they wanted to get rid of the Department of Defense. They want to get rid of the Department of War, among other things, including the Senate. A, that's not going to happen. B, doesn't that reek of sedition? Because if you say you're going to get rid of the military, what does it do? It means come in and take over the country and make it fall. That's you cannot exist without a Defense Department. It's absurd to think otherwise.
When I came in, we had to fill out some paperwork. I can't remember the name of the form. It's a form we have to fill out. I think it's the SF-86. And basically, you have to admit if you've ever belonged to or support an organization that's called for the violent overthrow of the U.S. government. These people are doing that. And so, I think it's time that we look at the laws. We look at how to use those laws. These people are a cancer. And I'm sorry if the Democrat Party has a quote-unquote big tent. The Republic doesn't have to put up with the nonsense of people who literally want to end the Republic as it is. And by the way, that's against the law. We have a Constitution that says, we got to sustain the Constitution.
Yeah.
And these people are nuts.
I want to ask you also, there have been a number of soldiers, one who's currently in prison after calling for the assassination of Donald Trump, saying he was the Antichrist. That was a few weeks ago. And then another one on his last day of service, shredding the president. What should happen to people like that who go after the commander-in-chief, whether it actually be a physical threat or just a criticism of such a fashion?
So there are specific rules and laws which govern this. So for the threat is a threat. You go to jail. You go to prison.
Yeah.
I think the guy's going to face a very long prison term. Regarding the use of the uniform in political circumstance, again, that's there's regulations which manage that. you don't even have to actually charge him under the UCMJ. You can use what we call an administrative judicial process to basically remove him, remove his rank, and basically punish him. So I can think of a number of non-judicial ways of just dealing with it. One thing you don't want to do is draw attention too much to it.
Yeah.
There's ways of doing this without drawing attention. I would just basically hold a board. I've been on these boards, by the way, Rob. I've been on this. You can hold a board. You can have basically a whole process. The guy gets due process, but he's reduced in rank and thrown out. And
Absolutely.
I would do that.
Absolutely. All right, Tony, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for your opinion today. Glad to hear from you. I hope week number 3 of marriage is working well for you.
Oh, it is. No, it is. No, we're back. She's back being a nurse, doing surgical stuff, and I'm back causing havoc. So
yes,
everybody's happy.
And we're just wondering when she'll start telling you to do stuff and build things.
Okay. No, I've got. You're going to laugh at this. I've got my home wife and my work wife, Catherine Heritage, just called me, so I got to call Catherine back.
All right, all right, Tony. I'll talk to you soon, man. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Funny. Oh, hi guys. I'm tired today. I don't know what the deal is. Coffee wasn't doing it for me today. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, it's maybe because I took some Z-Quil. I probably shouldn't take Z-Quil. I took Z-Quil in the middle of the night. So anyway. Looking at the funeral for Graham now. Trump is talking to Melania. I haven't been able to watch it. Listen, what am I going to say about the Lindsey Graham funeral? I'm on the radio. He died too soon. I think he was an honorable individual. I think he gave his life to service. He died not a rich man who enriched himself through using the levers of government to enrich himself. And so, what am I going to say about it? What am I going to say about it? Hello there, Scarecrow. Hello there, Sportech and Tom K. How are you guys doing over there on the Rumbly Roo? And also, look at all you people talking on the YouTube. See a couple new names there. Casey Gorsuch, 2151. Social media and the internet has destroyed America. And I wouldn't say that completely. I would say that it's destroyed a lot of our society. It's also been very beneficial for a number of reasons, and I think I'm an example of it because I use it to reach people. And, there are social media, obviously can be abused. As far as the internet is concerned, the internet is incredible. It's the Library of Alexandria times 100 million billion allows us to stay in touch around the planet, allows us to learn. Of course, it also allows a lot of people to propagandize and lie. So you got to use common sense, etc. When you regard it and when you use it. I'm going to start using AI for show prep, by the way. It's one of the things we're discussing to make it a little bit easier. All right. I got to talk. All right. My walk-on music.
No more incredible man on this earth.
Yeah, that's my walk-on music right there. That is Smooth, S-M-O-O-V-E. Smooth is the name of the group. I found it on Spotify. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So the Democrat Party, they are nearly bankrupt. And here is Joe and Mika. I'm going to have you listen to Joe and Mika. I apologize. Talking about the financial straits of the Democrat Party. Nobody wants to give any money to the party because they're bat guano crazy. So there's that.
So we move now from things making a lot of money to things losing a lot of money. At 7 minutes past the top of the hour, there is new reporting
this has to be a
morning
DNC story
on the dire financial situation for the Democratic.
What an unsufferable couple of just human beings. My God.
National Committee, now less than...
Could you imagine at a dinner party with those two?
100 days until
you'd pray for food poisoning.
Midterm elections. The New York Times reports the Democratic Party is so short on cash that leaders are asking vendors not to send bills until after the midterm.
Yeah, they're being taken over by a bunch of spoiled, entitled adult children who have advanced degrees and make between $30,000 and $60,000 a year and have no money. That's one of the reasons why they're broke. Plus, they're intellectually and morally bankrupt, too.
Elections. The paper spoke to 3 people briefed on the move who called it a bookkeeping maneuver. The paper highlights a cash disparity between the two parties, noting
they had to put DNC headquarters up as collateral for a loan.
President Trump controls a $400 million super PAC.
I know.
The Republican National Committee is sitting on nearly $130 million,
Yay.
while the DNC is $2 million in debt.
Wow.
The news outlet Notice also has new reporting on the DNC putting its physical headquarters up for collateral last year in order to obtain a $15 million line.
This sounds like typical Democrat money management.
This is just to help invest in off-year elections.
This is so pathetic.
The paper also reports that in a peak of frustration earlier this month, Martin threw his phone at the desk of a...
Yeah, that's great. Here's the problem again. The Democrat Party is morally and intellectually bankrupt. It has spent the last decade throwing a temper tantrum because we chose Donald Trump a couple of times. 3 times, actually, is how many times we chose him. And all they have is the lunacy that they have planted in academia. I said they were intellectually and morally bankrupt when Barack Obama was the president. They have no one to blame but themselves. They are dead on arrival. They are doing a death spiral into hell. We're going to talk about this on the other side of the top of the hour in the last hour of the Rob Carson Show. Today, don't go anywhere.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus. The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
You don't need to live with aches and pains. Visit relieffactor.com today.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
All right, hour number 3 of the Rob Carson Show, as we are broadcasting once again from downtown Washington, D.C., 14th Street, actually. A stone's throw from our nation's capital, if you could throw a stone, about a mile and a half. It's pretty amazing, amazing place. We meet a lot of interesting people in this building, and we're going to start having more people in the studio. I'm waiting on another microphone that sounds a little bit better than my guest microphone. I'm the only broadcast personality in the country who built his own radio and television show studio and engineers his own broadcast setup and runs his own audio and video. I am. That's just the way it is. It's not a control thing. It's just, sometimes if you want to get things done, you got to do them yourself. And that's just how I kind of have had to roll. The last 10 years, I've been sitting in a box by myself doing my show. And this is the first time in 10 years since I started doing video podcasting and whatnot that I'm actually in a building with other people. And, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Just walked out of the studio to grab another little sip of iced coffee that I have in the refrigerator in here, forgetting that I took my shoes off. Because, when you're at home, you can just take your shoes off. And so I took my shoes off, and I walk out, and I realize that I'm in the break room. I'm just wearing socks here, and that's probably a little bit weird for, the Newsmax people to say, who did this guy just get out of bed and come in? What the hell? But anyway... It's kind of an interesting place to be, and I'm grateful to be here. By the way, you should get a Newsmax Plus membership. Last night, Finnerty did a great job covering the Tony Fauci diary. I'm looking forward to the fireworks on Capitol Hill with regard to Tony Fauci. Senator Ron Johnson, of course, has been a champion of the absolute nonsense, the horror, the unnecessary suffering that Anthony Fauci and the government agencies that he commanded and listened to him suffered on the American people. My emotions are still raw about it. I would love to see a military tribunal, him convicted, and lined up against the wall, to be quite honest. No doubt about it. I have no bad feelings about that. I think that Anthony Fauci is the most monstrous human being to ever exist in power in American history. I believe that. He is an absolute monster who created a virus, paid for a virus, covered up the severity of the virus. I think got some sort of sadistic sexual pleasure out of the amount of attention he was getting with regard to the virus, because even while people were dying, he was talking about going out to dinner with Jake Tapper and whatnot. I mean, really, really sick. Here's a little bit from Rob Finnerty last hour from Newsmax.
They continue to pretend that Dr. Fauci is a hero who bravely guided us through our darkest days, and that he didn't force vaccines and mandates and masks and shutdowns and school closures and death and lies for years. And the media want you to believe that Dr. Fauci is just some public servant and not the guy that he really actually is. Here he is on tape when he didn't think anybody else was listening.
You were going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated.
Yeah, here is Jesse Waters talking about how none of that was necessary.
The country that the COVID fatality rate was extremely dangerous.
The mortality for this is about 2.5%. It's probably lower than that. It's probably closer to 1. But even if it's 1, it's 10 times more lethal than the seasonal flu.
But that's not what he wrote in his diary. He said the fatality rate was actually closer to 0. Didn't matter. In his diary, he was bragging about shutting down the country. I spoke with Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York City, and convinced him, based on what I was saying publicly and my conversation tonight, to close the NYC schools. He had already decided based on what I was saying on TV. And I went on to tell him he should close the bars and restaurants in New York City. Fauci said he spoke to Newsom, who did the same thing with California.
Yeah, it was absolutely I just don't have words for the madness, the absolute madness that they put us through. The absolute nonsense. I was in New York City when I got COVID at the most vaccinated place in the world, of course, New York City, and looked at these. They put up these bubbles and these outdoor dining areas outside of the restaurants in New York City in the dead of winter. So freaking stupid and unnecessary. So just, I knew when it was happening in real time. When they said that they were canceling worship services at churches, that's when I realized the goal of this was control. It was to steal the 2020 election, to derail Donald Trump's economy. And then when that didn't work, they burned the country with the Black Lives Matter psyop, and it was an absolute psyop. They waited for an opportunity. It didn't work with Mike Brown. It didn't work with Jussie Smollett. It didn't work with Bubba Wallace, but it worked with George Floyd, a 10-time, not a 2-time loser, a 10-time loser who died of a fentanyl overdose. And of course, they burned the country and said it was 1968 all over again. It was all just so utterly, utterly ridiculous. And I tell you, I am never going to let this happen again. And you should never allow this to happen again, this nonsense. There are still people who I shame them to this day when I see like a young couple walking around in a grocery store wearing masks, and like the cashier is there, and I'll say, oh my God, is there another COVID pandemic? Oh my God, is there another strain of COVID we should be concerned about? And they never talk to you because they are, little meow meows, and they won't ever try to confront you, because when you confront them, they're powerless. But all of the nonsense we had to go through was so stupid. Here is Senator Ron Johnson, who's been talking about the COVID vaccine and how ineffective it is and how many people it actually has killed. And it has killed hundreds of thousands of people. And it has injured maybe even millions of people, this worthless vaccine.
Do you believe there is a fundamental disconnect there? And in that disconnect, the American people were deceived? Yes or no?
Well, absolutely, the American people were deceived by Anthony Fauci. This has been obvious for quite some time. As soon as we got access to those email exchanges of the phone calls that were occurring the end of January, early February of 2020, when a lot of these individuals that Anthony Fauci had been funding the research for years and then funded their research after they changed their tune from saying that this is looking man-made. You got that fear and cleavage site. So all of a sudden, Anthony Fauci arranges these phone calls with 8 or 9 individuals. And all these people who are looking at this thing, as I looked at, is this is man-made.
Yeah,
okay? You just don't have a fear and cleavage site here. A lot of other, computational biologists make the same conclusion. All of a sudden, within a couple of days, that's a conspiracy theory. This had to spring from nature, although they've never, ever been able to track that down. By the way, he also lied then to Congress when he said, I wasn't involved in the intelligence community's assessment at all. Those very, very same individuals that he corralled in those January, February.
He's a megalomaniac. He's a genocidal megalomaniac, the most evil human being to ever work in American government. That's what I believe 100%. Here is Rand Paul. Rand Paul yesterday talking about Tony Fauci, who's going to be on Capitol Hill tomorrow, and I hope they roast his rear end. If I were Anthony Fauci, I'd be very tempted just to, maybe end it all, because he's going to get roasted on Capitol Hill tomorrow. And the leftist media is still defending this guy. But here is Rand Paul saying that, of course, Fauci knew that the virus was man-made because he helped pay for it.
One of the biggest items that we found in there was that in January of 2020, he already was acknowledging that the virus didn't originate in the marketplace. For years, he's been telling you, if you interviewed him last week, he's probably still telling you the reason we think it came from nature is because they had these exotic animals, and that's where SARS came from previously. But he already knew. And we've known this for a while, that other people knew, but we didn't know he actually knew and was acknowledging that it didn't. The earliest people who got COVID were not associated with the marketplace. The Chinese CDC was saying this in January of 2020. He knew it. He told Dear Diary, but to the public, he commissioned this paper called Proximal Origins, and in it they go on and on saying it's implausible that it came from the lab, and we're really convinced.
What kind of individual does this? I mean, what kind of individual makes a lie so big and that is so involved with so many people? And then while people are dying and people are suffering and businesses going out of business and children having their lives ruined, they brag about having dinner with famous people or doing a stupid podcast with Julia Roberts. I mean, honestly, this, I see if I still got it here, the Julia Roberts thing. I'm not going to talk about it. Screw her. Honestly, really screw her. Just a bunch of, you always know how things are going to turn out when people like Julia Roberts or the leftist media are fawning over someone. You know that it's all fake. You know that it is all fake. Let's move on to the Democrat Party and what a bloody mess it is right now. Let me see what I've got here. I'm going to get I got some Harry Inton with regard to here's what Harry Inton of CNN says people feel about how the Democrat Party can help them. Most people believe in their hearts and know that the Democrat Party cannot help them because they don't have the capacity to help them.
But you know what? I would argue the biggest red flag that Democrats have, the biggest red flag, look at this. It's apathy, not believing that Democrats can change anything. Because the impacts of Democratic policies on your cost of living, only 41% say help, hurt, or wouldn't change it. The clear majority, nearly 3 in 5, 59%. So, look, these are all the red flags. If, in fact, Democrats can't take back control of either the House and or the Senate, and if Trump can stop them, this is what's going on.
Now, we heard the Democrat Party DSA platform co-chair over the weekend talk about the insanity of what they want to usher in, including getting rid of the Senate. Here is Abby Normal from CNN, also known as Abby Phillips, talking about that.
Tonight, as the Democratic Socialists pick up a string of victories across the country, a new party platform from a progressive group is becoming fodder for GOP attacks. 99 days from the midterms, Democrats are facing a reckoning. Disavow and disown the Democratic Socialists of America, or embrace policy positions like these endorsed by the DSA's co-chair.
Okay, so we're going to put up on the screen a few of the things that are part of your platform, and I want to ask you, just give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate.
True.
Okay, replace the presidency and Supreme Court as we now know them.
Yep.
Abolish ICE.
Absolutely.
Abolish borders and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally.
As a long-term plan, yep.
Defund the Pentagon.
Absolutely.
Abolish prisons, at least in large part.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, that, as part of a long-term program, yeah.
Okay, so no prisons. Government or public ownership of most large corporations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's listen to Abby Normal's response.
All right. That seems like a problem for Democrats.
Oh, really? We're going to hear from those Democrats coming up on the other side of the break. This is the Rob Carson Show.
And our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Yeah, baby. And I tell you, our weapon is overwhelming the left with joy, faith, and patriotism. I'll handle the mockery, ridicule, and satire. Rahm Emanuel was asked about this Democrat co-chair on I guess, Fox, talking about all the stupid crap they want to do that they won't be able to do because we will fight them to the death rather than get rid of the Senate, get rid of the Department of Defense, get rid of electing the president. I mean, honestly, how stupid are you? Do you really want your rear end kicked up between your shoulders electorally and physically? Honestly, enough with your nonsense. But here is Rahm Emanuel being asked about it.
This is what the president is trying to focus in on when he says things like what he just said about communism. Let's watch that clip, and I want to hear what you have to say about it on the other side.
Abolish the Senate.
True.
Okay, I'm not going to listen to that all again. Let's go to Rahm Emanuel's reaction to the bat guano craziness of the DSA.
Is that helpful for Democrats trying to win elections?
That can't be a pop quiz question. Of course, no, it's not helpful.
There you go. How about Debbie Dingle? Debbie Dingle, who, if she was married to Marion Barry, her name would be Debbie Dingleberry. Yeah, I know. I say that because I have the sense of humor of a 14-year-old boy, and I never get tired of saying it. And I'll bet you right now you're chuckling a little that I said Dingleberry. Aren't you right? You're laughing right now that Rob Carson said Dingleberry on national radio. I know. That's why you watch me and listen to me. Here's Debbie Dingleberry talking about and she immediately distracts, by the way, because she is a crazy old Karen cat lady. That's what Debbie Dingleberry is. And she has no response to this because she's, again, a crazy cat lady Karen.
Okay, so no prisons. Government or public ownership of most large corporations?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think these goals pull from the focus that you are trying to put out there, your message on affordability?
Here we go.
So I'm going to say this to you point blank. I hate labels. I don't happen to agree with a lot of what was just said, but I also don't think that a lot of my Democratic colleagues that I work with agree with those at all either.
Okay, well, you stand up to him, you Dingleberry. My God, are you kidding me? Here is Democrat Representative Raja Krishnamurthy. Don't know who the hell this guy is, but listen to the word salad he comes up with responding to the craziness of the DSA.
Defund the Pentagon.
Absolutely. Are those positions the Democratic Party should accept, in your view?
No, and I think the vast majority of Democrats do not.
Okay, there you go. That should be the answer, but no.
But, of course, we're a big tent party where people have different viewpoints. I think that the mainstream viewpoints are ones of, making sure that everyone has a chance to get on the up escalator of the economy. And secondly, that everyone has a chance, regardless of who you are, where you come from, or the number of letters in your name. There are 29 in mine. Mm-hmm. And so I think those are kind of the big... Yeah,
everybody believes that, you moron. It's whether you invite them into the tent of the party and you consider... I mean, honestly, okay, we want to kill all the Jews. I think there's room for that at our party. We'll work around it. We'll figure out the details later. That's essentially what they're saying, by the way. They want Israel driven off the face of the planet. They are very anti-Semitic. I mean, honestly, how intellectually and morally bankrupt are you? Here's Scott Bessent. He's the Treasury Secretary talking about the bat guano craziness of the DSA.
Well, they're nuts, Sean, but you know who was onto this early on, like he is to so many things, with President Trump. When Mayor Mamdani came to the Oval in November after he had won.
He was smiling.
He was smiling, but President Trump said, "You're the leader of the Democratic Party."
Do you think that was by chance?
And the Democratic Party, this is now the...
Do you think maybe he planted the seed of the Democrat Party's destruction?
Center of the party now. This is the center of gravity for this party. And look, remember...
He did it with a wink and a nod.
Bernie Sanders used to be a group of one. Now, I think you said there are 35 candidates running.
Now, in Michigan, you got this Abdul El-Sayed, who's a radical Islamist, Marxist communist. His wife has a psychiatry practice. She doesn't allow, it's cash only, no Medicare, but he wants Medicare for all. And there was a debate against Haley Stevens, this kind of colloquial faker. By the way, she's a faker. She's really not like this. And she cleaned his clock last night, and I don't think he's going to win a week from tonight.
Be really clear right now, because I'm going to tell you what kind of politician I am. I am Michigan's manufacturing geek, okay? I have visited hundreds of small to mid-sized manufacturing shop floors. I have operated CNC machines in my life previous to being in elected office. I have a deep passion for the bread and butter of our state and a unique understanding of it.
Now, what do you suppose is going to win in Michigan? That or this man doubling down last night on getting rid of immigrations and customs enforcement?
Well, I'm just saying that I do the thing that I say I'm going to do. I don't think ICE needs to exist. For the better part of our country's history, we did not have an ICE, and I think we can do a much better job when it comes to immigration without one.
Like Joe Biden did by opening the southern border to 20 million illegals, and you want to get rid of ICE, and you want to get rid of the border, and you want to socialize medicine, and you want to take over business, and you're going to get your rear end handed to you next week, by the way. I think he sealed his fate last night. He was going to lose anyway, but I think there aren't enough radical Islamists in the state of Michigan to propel him to victory, and Haley Stevens, I don't know how electable she is, but she sounds a lot better, I think, to Democrats than that jackweed. Let's take a break and come back. The one and only Randy Fine from the great state of Florida joins us next. Hey guys, it's Carson for Relief Factor. When it comes to supplements, two things matter most: that it works and that you can trust it. Jim ran out of Relief Factor twice. Both times his ache, stiffness, and pain came back. Once he restarted again, he says he felt better again. You know something's working when you run out of it. I started taking Relief Factor 6 months ago. I ride 30 miles on a Saturday morning on my mountain bike and lift weights every other day, and I feel great. People like Jim make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor help you tackle your daily aches and pains. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. They will do everything they can to help. We hope you'll be sharing your story with us too. 800-4RELIEF or ReliefFactor.com. This isn't the end of a fight. It's the start of one. Lioness, the critically acclaimed original series from Taylor Sheridan, returns August 2nd only on Paramount+. It's the new season. Hidden networks, foreign operatives, and personal betrayals collide while Joe walks the line between duty and family. Don't miss Lioness, starring Zoe Saldana, Michael Kelly, with Morgan Freeman and Nicole Kidman, streaming August 2nd only on Paramount+.
Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
I always accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative. With me, there is no in between. State of the Union scored, approval rate how it has soared. Democrats cannot afford to take me for granted anymore. Inflation's low, Employment's high. The Dow Jones, it is headed for the sky. Border secure. Illegals aren't jetting in. That's why I accentuate the positive. Eliminate the negative. Latch on to the affirmative. With me, there is no in between.
Hey guys, it's Carson for Ghost Bed. Do you really want another summer like last summer, barely sleeping because you were too hot all night? People blame summer heat for bad sleep when it really may be their mattress trapping heat. And if you already sleep hot, summer only makes it worse. That's why I switched to Ghost Bed. Helps keep you cool all night, no waking up sweaty, tossing and turning, or throwing the covers off at 2 a.m. Cooling tech is built into every mattress. It's not some expensive upgrade you have to pay extra for. Hot sleepers are some of Ghost Bed's happiest customers. Read the reviews. You get incredible support, less stiffness, deeper sleep, more rested mornings. I got my Ghost Bed about 6 months ago, and it changed my life. Ghost Bed gives you 101 nights to try it at home. You can sleep on it all summer long and feel the difference for yourself. How many more summers are you going to waste on bad sleep? Ghost Bed is currently having their 4th of July sale, offering my audience an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use the promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson, promo code Carson.
Voters favoring photo ID to vote. Among all voters, we're talking 77%. And this is uniform, basically, or universal, I should say. Universal. Democrats, 62%. Independents, 77%. Republicans, 95%. This is something that is popular across the political spectrum. It is a rare thing that is popular across the political spectrum. When it comes to voter ID, the voters are with President Trump on this, whether they're Democrats, independents, or Republicans. Overall, very clear. We're talking about 3 in 4 overall who support the idea of photo ID in order to.
Even though it's racist and women can't get a photo ID after they get divorced and black people have no ability to get them whatsoever. My God, what a racist country we live in. Randy Fine, representative from the great state of Florida. Isn't that just amazing that so many people support this and yet we can't get it through the Senate?
Yeah, I can't really explain it. I mean, we've passed it now in the House, I think, 7 times, and I'm certainly committed to it. And I think our people deserve to have confidence in our elections, and so we've just got to stay after it.
Why is John Thune acting like an armadillo on his back in the middle of the highway on this?
You know, I don't know. Look, he may be seeing, he may think he doesn't have the votes, but I think what our base is most upset about, they're more upset that we're not trying to pass it than it hasn't passed. If you've got to keep people at work around the clock for the next couple months to give it a shot, then that's what you got to do. It took more than 60 days of 24-hour-a-day meetings to pass the Civil Rights Act that gave every American the right to vote in the 60s. If it was worth 60 days to make sure every American could vote, it's worth 60 days to make sure only Americans can vote. And so I think they've just got to man up and do the job.
Do you suppose they're going to go on recess before anything is done?
I don't know. I mean, I hope they don't, but I'm not optimistic. Look, they've been unwilling to pass it. We've sent them. Like I said, we've passed it 7 times, and they just don't seem willing to do it, and it's incredibly disappointing.
I don't know what it's going to take. I think that if Thune doesn't get it done, he's done. He will be done at the end of his term, and anyone of his ilk will be done after this term. I'm just quite fed up with all of the nonsense. Let's move into the Democrat Party. Over the weekend, with the co-chair of the Democrat Socialists of America came out with a laundry list of bat guano crazy nonsense, getting rid of the Senate, getting rid of the Department of Defense. That makes sense, sure. Getting rid rid of prisons, getting rid of the southern border, getting rid of the letter L from the alphabet while they're really trying for something. And I got a variety of reactions from that. Some, like Rahm Emanuel, saying, no, we can't accept that. And then the rest of the Democrats saying, no, we're a big tent party, which is a cop-out as far as I'm concerned. What's going on in the Democrat Party, and what's going to happen with the DSA and the Democrat Party?
Well, they've let the communists take over. They've let the terrorists take over. I mean, they are a party of wackos and weirdos and lunatics now. We're not arguing over marginal tax rates anymore. We're arguing over whether America as a democracy should exist. These people want to recreate the Soviet Union in the United States. They hate America. They hate freedom. They hate our values. And they seek its destruction. And that's what folks need to understand. That's what's on the ballot in November. Is America or no America? That's what we're up against today.
I saw a story, I guess it was I think it was the Washington Post or the New York Times, either one of the usual suspects. And they said that Republicans are not very motivated for the midterms. And I say that's absolute crap, by the way. This is their typical attempt to demotivate people from voting. We came out for Donald Trump after they tried to throw him in jail, raided Mar-a-Lago, impeached him twice, tried to kill him 4 times. We sure as hell aren't going to sit on our asses when we are under threat like this. How do you feel about the Republicans and their and the battle we face in the fall?
Well, we need to be that motivated. But look, that's why the Save America Act is so important.
Yes, sir.
I think the Senate's failure to pass it demotivates people. They say, what's the point? If you guys can't even make people show a photo ID to vote, why should I vote? You guys aren't willing to take on the fights that we sent you there to do. But what people need to understand is, as bad as it is, and it is bad, it would be so much worse if they were to take over. You have to remember, many of these Democrats' goal is to destroy the country. They hate America.
Yeah.
Why does someone who won't say the Pledge of Allegiance want to run for Congress?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Why? Yeah. It's to destroy the country. And that is what they want, and that's why our folks have to vote.
Yeah, this is Joe and Mika talking about how broke the Democrat Party is right now.
Elections. The New York Times reports the Democratic Party is so short on cash that leaders are asking vendors not to send bills until after the midterm elections. The paper spoke to 3 people briefed on the move who called it a bookkeeping maneuver. The paper highlights a cash to spend.
They literally put the DNC headquarters as collateral on a loan.
Well, yeah, when you say you're for communism and you want to take everyone's property away, it turns out the people who can actually donate go, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I think what they've done is they've alienated their donors, and I think you're seeing that in their numbers.
Well, 100%. And then also you look at the fact that the base of support for the DSA are people with graduate or postgraduate degrees making $30,000 to $60,000 a year with between $106,000 and $190,000 in student debt. They are failures at life. They have worthless degrees. They're overeducated and underfunded, and they're pissed off and want everyone who's actually doing well to be lowered to their level while they get free stuff. This is not uncommon of the highly educated, particularly, and this is one of the reasons why Joe Biden was waiving all the student loans. Am I right?
That's absolutely true. And you have to keep in mind, to some degree, we can't blame these people. They were lied to for 12 years of elementary school and high school education. They were lied to through college. They were lied to through graduate school. They were told that feeding this beast of getting no skills and taking on debt was somehow a winner. So this was done to them, and they're angry. The fact of the matter is, going and getting a degree in medieval French literature is not going to set you up for a successful life unless you're one of the few people who can teach medieval French literature.
I wonder how we can right this ship. I mean, unless they go back for some sort of a remedial training in some sort of a trade, do you suppose this spells kind of the beginning of the tip with regard to higher education and these degrees that cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars and ultimately get no results in the real world?
I don't know that we can. I mean, I'm somewhat pessimistic
Yeah.
about the future of the country, to be perfectly blunt. I think there are so many people who hate America. That's why it's all the more important that we get motivated and we go and beat these people. If we don't win, our country hangs in the balance with those who love America and those who hate America. This is not your father's Democratic Party.
Well, I will disagree with you, Randy Fine. I was in the thick of it. I was selling cars at the beginning of the Biden administration. I was suffering through the massive inflation. I watched the people, the MAGA base and American people support Donald Trump through all of the slings and arrows, and I believe we're going to kick some ass in November. To be quite honest, I have faith in us and in our voters. I want to cover Zohran Mamdani, Abdul El Sayed, and others on the other side of the break. I understand you could stay for 2 breaks. That's awesome. So I want to hang on to you as long as possible. Representative Randy Fine at X at Rep Fine. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey guys, it's Carson for Relief Factor when it comes to supplements.
The Associated Press did not cover this story today. CNN did not cover it. Jake Tapper didn't even mention it. Why would he? The Washington Post, the New York Times, ABC, NBC, MS Now, USA Today, they all covered up that Dr. Fauci kept a diary where this sociopath monster, just my opinion, totally in love with his own fame, kept track of COVID-19 deaths while also chronicling his many media appearances and his text messages with people like George Stephanopoulos and Dana Bash. I'm not kidding. This is from March of 2020. Quote, deaths, 9,800. Quote, A big front page article about me appeared in the Washington Post. Very flattering. My national and international fame is explosive and really unimaginable. It is not hyperbole to say that today I am the most famous and talked about person in the country.
You know what I took from the Fauci Diaries, Representative Randy Fine, is that this man is very much like either Ted Kaczynski or the Zodiac Killer. Presiding over the deaths of so many people and then bragging about all the attention it's bringing him. That's the kind of sociopathy I took from these diary entries. The man is mentally ill.
Yeah, no, it's nauseating, and he will go down as a historically evil figure.
I swear to God.
Because if you think, I think about the kids who had their educations destroyed and we're still paying the price today for 1 year, 2 years not going to school.
Both of my kids.
Because of lies.
Randy, both of my kids. My daughter missed almost at least half of her high school. My son, half of his experience studying at the University of Kansas. Ruined. And I want payback. I want this mother bleeper. I don't even know it's possible. He got a pardon. What are you hoping to see on Capitol Hill tomorrow? I mean, I hope and pray that he dies alone, very sad and vilified, but I would like to have worse happen to him.
Well, I think he's going to be exposed. Whether we can prosecute him criminally, I don't know. Joe Biden will be remembered as the guy who pardoned him. But I think everyone who was hurt by those decisions, again, needs to remember that in November. Remember, you couldn't go to school, but you could go to a Black Lives Matter protest. You couldn't go to the funeral of your parents, but you could burn a city down.
Yeah.
I mean, these people were evil, and they will do it to us again if they get the opportunity. We are dealing with evil in this world, and that is what's on the ballot in November.
100%. This is a war. We are at war. They started the war.
Yep,
they have soldiers. It's a civil war by proxy, and they have soldiers for hire in Antifa and other groups. Let me ask you about Zohran Mamdani having the audacity to attend the 9/11 memorial, even though he promotes the same people who handed candy to children on 9/11, the supposed Palestinians. This isn't about any sort of commemoration. This is about planting a flag. This is about serving up an indignity, isn't it? And I don't think it's going to work out for him.
Well, I think he wants to go to a memorial for the 19 of his friends who died killing 3,000 Americans.
Yeah.
I mean, so for him, it's a sad day. Those 19 people died. But it is a disgrace. So if those family members say don't come because of the rhetoric that you use, you respect their wishes. It's not about Zohran Mamdani. It is about those family members. And the fact of the matter is he apologizes and he justifies the ideology that led to those 3,000 Americans dying. It's why I call him a Muslim terrorist, and he should stay away and not torment those people even more than they already are.
I think this is the... I have an expression, Randy, and it's going to be the title of my book, Homeboys, Hillbillies, and Hebrews. We've got to come together to save America. We've got to come together. If the authorities won't kick some ass, then we're going to have to. The terror that is happening in the Jewish community in New York City as well as elsewhere, if the authorities aren't going to do anything to protect my Hebrew brothers and sisters, then by God in heaven, then the rest of us are going to have to do this. And I while I am concerned about the spread of radical Islam in our country, I do not believe that it will emerge victorious. I really do not believe that. We will not be ruled by this. Abdul El-Sayed last night had a debate with his Haley Stevens. Right now I'm seeing it trending that he's going to, it looks like he could easily get his rear end kicked. Haley Stevens could win this. And then when it comes to the overall winning the Senate seat, Haley Stevens is ahead and Sayed would lose. What are your thoughts on that race?
Well, look, I think that Sayed is horrible. I mean, the guy has clearly supported Muslim terror. He's an apologist for all of this stuff, and he can't be allowed anywhere near the U.S. Senate. So whether he loses in the primary or the general election, I very much hope he loses. Again, there was a time when Republicans and Democrats both loved America. They
Yes.
just wanted to get there a little bit differently.
Yes.
Syed is clearly someone who does not love America, and I think he's a real danger, and I hope he loses that primary.
Well, Representative Randy Fine, I have been waging a war with the left for many years with this radio program. It is only growing, and I believe that I am a fellow soldier with you, and no matter who you want to bring to the fight with you, I will fight with you. We are going to win this midterm. We are going to have, and then we're going to really start kicking some serious rear end and taking our country back. I believe that in my heart. So I appreciate you being on. Is there any way that we can help you out, brother, in your position as a congressman?
Yeah, I mean, from a campaign perspective, people can go to voterandyfine.com and donate to my campaign, or if they're local, they can vote for me, sign up for a yard sign. And on the official side, I'm at Rep Fine if people want to keep up to date on what I'm doing. But supporting me means a lot because the leftists, the Islamists, they come after me all the time, and I appreciate the support from those who agree with us.
Well, whatever you need, we're here for you. I'm serious. Whatever you need, you get in touch with us. We will promote you. We will help you. We will motivate people because we're in this together and we're going to win. Okay, brother?
Thank you, pal. I appreciate it very much.
All right, let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hello. I think I'm going to have to play that. Hold on one second, guys. All righty, kids, hold on. All righty. Westerner 10. Dems have to say a big tent because if they split, they'll lose. Yeah, that's a good point. And they are dividing. They're dying. They're dying. But good to see you there. You're new. Good to see you. Willard Clark, W9s, Newscomb plus Fauci equals psychopaths, 100%. They are. They're psychopaths. They really are psychopaths. There's no doubt about it. All righty. Who else? Willard Clark. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. See Pat Carr. Got to run. Love to Rob and all his kids. You too. Yeah, have a glorious day, Pat. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for joining me today. We're only going to become more powerful as the election year continues. Sport Tech. Good night, Rob. Great show. Thank you. I appreciate that. Pat Carr. Appreciate it. Joe Scarborough. Woman. And Mika is a lesbian. I don't know if she's a lesbian or not. I think she's a dingbat. I don't think she's a lesbian. She's not an unattractive woman. She's mentally very unattractive. Physically, I think she's kind of hot. But she's a dingbat. She puts the ding in dingbat. Thank you very much. Well, I'm looking over here on the Facebookage. A lot of good news on the Newsmax Facebook page. Newsmax puts up a lot of great stuff on their social media, especially my show. Yeah, so there's that. All right, I've got to talk here. Fetterman. Oh, okay. It is the Rob Carson Show. Today was an outstanding show. Randy Fine was fantastic, and this is it. We've got to fight to win here in November, and we suffered a great deal of indignities. We suffered demonetization, deplatforming, blacklisting, etc. We've lost our friends. We've lost many family members because of our beliefs in America is founded, and a belief in this president of the United States, this Donald Trump, being the person who would save America for the next 250 years. And so we are in a battle. We're in a battle. We aren't going to let these soy boys. We are not going to let them win. We are not going to live in darkness. We are not going to live in their nonsense. We are not going to accept them saying that they're going to get rid of the Senate, getting rid of how we elect the president. Too many of us have, and our ancestors have died or returned home injured physically or emotionally, battling this sort of despotism worldwide. We will not allow it to happen. We will not allow it to happen. You will do it over our dead bodies, but guess what? It will be your bodies that die, not ours. Thank you very much. From Jim Gossett, the theme song.
Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are Rob Carson's friends.
Hispanics and homeowners and handgun owners.
Better believe that they'll be friends to the end.
We got to win this.
Willie!
We're going to win this.
A new coalition to promote freedom. They're all about liberty. The perfect trio to combat the left and look out for you and me.
It's time to spank the children.
Mamas, please let your babies grow up to be homeboys.
Why the heck not? Why the heck not?
Hillbillies and Hebrews is who you should raise. You'll receive nothing but
Absolute praise.
Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are saving this country.
Come on, we got to do it.
They love this land and they'll give you a hand. We need to give them our thanks. Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are friends to this nation. They've got our back when we're under attack.
Homeboys, hillbillies, Hebrews. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. I know too many. You look at my family members. They are patriotic Americans. Many of them veterans or have passed away who are veterans. They are gun owners. They are flag wavers. And we are not going to live under socialism or communism. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. This DSA movement is tiny, and we will put it out. We will end them. And the Democrat Party is dividing in half, cleaving itself in half. They are broke. They are bankrupt intellectually and physically. They will be defeated, and we are coming together to save America. Overwhelm them with joy and faith and patriotism. I'll handle the mockery, ridicule, and satire. And we will celebrate in November when we take back both houses, or I should say maintain them, and grow our leads. God bless America as founded Donald Trump, our troops, you guys. And until tomorrow, which just happens to be Wednesday, do not catch the stupid.
The Rob Carson Show is presented by Paramount Plus.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.